What's up everybody, Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Now it's day 4 of the Doom Tower. With it comes the new boss as well, a new challenge for all of us guys. So we have the Eternal Dragon, right? Now I'm not gonna check the skills on the boss again because we've already done it when I made a video announcing the new boss is coming out. So the boss itself, it is a bit complex. It's not as hard to beat as the Griffin in my opinion, honestly. But we can make it with different teams, different champions. So we're gonna try kind of like 2 different teams, but then we're only gonna change 1 key champion in those teams. And I'm gonna give you a few more different examples of champions you could use and why you wanna use this sort of champions. So we have floor 40 right here, guys. We're not gonna fight this. I wanna get you prepared for the last stage on this boss. So we're gonna try a couple of different teams, how I said. Before we're gonna jump into it, we're gonna talk a bit about the champions and what sort of other champions you could use, right? So we are using in this team Dragstar as lead. We have increased accuracy in our battles by 70. We're gonna have AoE HP burn from him in a way or another. Then we have Giant Slayer, which drops in a lot of damage on the actual boss. We have Doom Priest for cleanse. Honestly, is the #1 cleanser you can use for this particular boss because of the continuous cleanse at every single turn she takes. We have Padma for attack down. Again, she might be the best champion for attack down because it's AoE. Rather than using a single target and always be in the need to target the boss, because that's the main idea. Padma is AoE, so you don't actually have to go and target the boss, so all the attacks go towards the boss, right? Then we have Sile of the Drakes. You can get a champion for free from the daily login rewards. She's a great reviver, super good healer as well at the same time, so that's why we're running Sile of the Drakes. And then in the last spot here we have Tyrant. HP burn again, but the main thing that we want from Tyrant is ally protection, right? So this boss ignores defense, shield, unkillable, block damage, everything else except ally protection, and he will ignore 50% of the defense. So you kind of want to have some of the champions built with a decent amount of HP, and ally protection will help to keep them alive together with attack down on the champions. Now HP burn, because the boss already has 3 minions next to it that they spawn every time, is gonna bring in a lot of damage as well. We're gonna check the tick per HP burn because I actually haven't done it yet to see exactly what's the damage per tick on the HP burn. Now you could replace Tyrant right here with a Krisk if you have a Krisk, with a Jareg if you have a Jareg. Jareg can play 2 different roles, attack down and ally protection. Even though he's not reliable enough, you might want to consider him bringing in another attack down champion like a Sepulture Sentinel, for example, a Tyrell, something like that. I honestly don't know who else to suggest you instead of Doom Priest, unless you're gonna manual. So if you manual, you can bring in like a Reliquary Tender, a Battle Khazar, champions that they have it on a 3-turn cooldown, and you can time it with the boss's cooldown, right? Now, this is the first team we're gonna drop in, guys. Then we're gonna replace a key champion for another key champion and try a different strat. So let's jump into it. Let's see what we're gonna do here. We have 5 Annies, guys. I actually managed to pull Annie like on the last double voids. Was that last weekend? I can't even remember. I need to build her as well. See what she can do on my main account. I made a video on her ages ago, but I never played with her on my main account. It's so different when I make a video on somebody else's account rather than my own account, honestly. So I haven't specified this yet, but this is on the test server, guys. I kind of forgot to mention it. So it's on the test server from Plarium. That's why I have access to stage 120. So we cleared the waves pretty fast. 30-40 seconds. That's because Padma is built for damage. Now, talking about the champions, you do want to have resistance on the key champions. I do have resistance on Tyrant. I do have resistance on Sile. That's about it. I don't want to have resistance on Padma. I only want her to use the A1 on the boss. Now the boss right here increases the skills durations the same way Warlord does, Basher, Elegias. So it's something you cannot block, you cannot cleanse, the only way to block it is by having resistance, okay? So there is no other way to it. So because of it, I do want to have resistance on my key champions to make sure they sustain my team alive. Now, I am landing attack down with Padma, HP burn with 2 different champions. I have ally protection from Tyrant to help my team to stay alive. So that's kind of the way it works. Doom Priest in here coming in with the cleanse every single time she gets a turn. You see we have all this increased cooldown. The boss gets a lot of thermometer as well when he actually increases the cooldown, not when he debuffs us. So the boss itself is pretty nasty. Now, what we haven't checked just yet, and I do want to check right about now, is the HP burn tick, right? So Paidman, let's use it on here. Okay, we landed the tag down, and I really want to see that tick from the HP burn. 126k, guys. So that's a pretty strong thing. It's almost like on the actual Spider 20 dungeon. So HP burn is gonna be great here. Definitely suggest to run it if you can. Dragstar, you can buy it with gold bars from the 3v3 arena. So definitely, if you don't have a Dragstar just yet, go and get him. Since the last buff, he got a bit of a magic touch, to say like this. He became much better as a champion. Super good for progression, to help you out in the Spider, in the Doom Tower, especially with the crazy good aura he has. Increases ally accuracy. Like, I have only 200 and a bit accuracy on my Tyrant because I focus resistance on him, and because this boss has around 350 accuracy, something like that, and around the same amount of resistance, right? So in order to counter that, I need over 400 resistance. If no, I'm not gonna make it. The only way I would make it without that is by having a resistance aura, which we don't have in this team. So my Tyrant has over 400 resistance, and same with the side of the Drakes. I do want Tyrant to be able to land that ally protection more than he's gonna place the HP burn, because we already have Dragstar to drop that HP burn. And that's why we use him as a lead. Just time to time, Tyrant to come in play with a HP burn. Now, I do afford to do that sort of build on my champions with the gear I have. A lot of you guys out there might not be able to do it as easily as I am doing it, you know. And glyphs, of course, glyphs, they play a super important role in achieving these good stats on your champions. But we're going to talk about their build in a second, guys. We're going to change a key champion afterwards, make the next run, which is going to be a bit faster because we can actually target the boss and just go on it like that without having to worry about it. If you do get to target the boss, I feel like it becomes a bit harder for some reason. Now, I haven't noticed it 100% why targeting the boss makes the run a bit harder. It's probably because you don't get to kill any of the ads, right? So that can create you some sort of difficulties in here. But here we are, 4 minutes is honestly not a bad time. I know we do have 3 legendary champions in here. 2 of them you can basically get them for free by playing the game, and 1 of them you kind of gotta pull him. But that champion can be replaced by a Jarek, which is an epic champion, if you got lucky enough to pull him. I'm pretty sure if you run a Paidman next to it, you can run, for example, a Rearguard Sergeant, ally protection, defense down on the A1, and we have attack down as well from her skill. So Rearguard Sergeant can replace Tyrant, Jarek can replace Tyrant. I'm trying to think of other ally protection champions except Krisk. Krisk can do it as well. Maybe even V6 can do it, right? V6, she doesn't really bring anything else on this boss except that decreased speed, which I think can work on the boss, but she does bring us ally protection, so I think that's gonna be pretty good as well. So we got 4.3 million damage from Dragstar Bloodwind, we got 2 million from Tyrant. The rest, Paidman, she dealt almost 1 million, Side of the Drakes 700k, Doom Priest 355k. So that was a 4 minute and 34 seconds run. We got 127 turns. Now, one thing that I want to change, we're gonna replace Dragstar from here, right? And we're gonna take Tyrant out. And instead of Tyrant, I do want to show to you guys, the ones that they have a stronger endgame account, how it's gonna work with Warlord, right? Warlord can increase the duration of skills on the boss because the boss is not immune to that, right? So Warlord, Basher, Elegias can do it. Now Basher, he might be a bit too squishy for this high stage here, unless you're gonna build him just with accuracy and tank him up. Then he can work a bit as well to help you out, but I don't see him helping you that much as a Warlord or Elegias, for example, right? So let's take them in for a spin. These are the only 3 options that we have on the list from all these champions that I just told you. By following this strategy, we do need to have a tag down, we do need to have a cleanse, we do need to have an extra heal and a reviver just in case, and we do need to have that HP burn for damage, right? So let's take them in for a spin. Now, other champions that I forgot mentioning for the previous team is Lugan, for example. He's a great champion. We have heal on the A1. He deals pretty good damage as well. We have ally protection, and we have increased cooldown debuff as well on the same skill with ally protection, I think, or the one next to it. But Lugan is a very, very good champion as well. He's from the Bannerlords, guys. Then we could run a Grush the Mangler here for Leech and attack down as well. But I feel like we do need to have another champion with that attack down just to make sure we're covering the whole team. And because of this increased cooldown skills that the boss brings in, and we're not able to block it only by having resistance, guys, I feel like we do have to use champions that have great A1s, basic skills, for example, right? Or passives that they cannot be blocked by those sort of skills. Like increased cooldown skills cannot block passives or anything like that. So, for example, if we have a Vogot, right? His passive heals every time we get hit, and he's placing Leech as well on the enemy team. Leech can help us survive, because whenever he gets attacked, he gets a hit from an ally that is provoked, if I remember it correctly, he's placing Leech on that champion. So Leech is a great source of heal for this as well. And then we have the amazing passive he has, healing every time he gets hit. What other champions they could work here? Because we do have a huge variety of champions that we can run of these bosses. The main idea is just for us to have the time to test champions and play champions around for you guys to be able to see them. So it takes us a few days to do it, of course, because especially at least for me, I'm not doing this full-time just yet. I'm still having a full-time job that I'm covering every day, 5 days a week. So I find it a bit harder for me to be able to go full on and test a million champions, a million comps on the same boss every single different day. But slowly and surely we are doing it for you guys out there to make sure you are able to get to the boss, beat the bosses, and of course get the rewards. I wish the champions we are getting with fragments for the Doom Tower, they would be a bit better, to have a bit of more passion, to have a bit of more desire to beat the Doom Tower to get those champions, right? So because the champions themselves, especially the legendary ones, are not great, not a lot of people they stress that much with a hard mode Doom Tower to do the secret rooms and all the rest of the stuff. So I feel like that's a loss for Plarium for giving us bad champions. If they would give us better champions, more people will have the desire to do it. Epic champions are actually better than the legendary ones. But how you guys can see, with Warlord, we are able to increase the cooldowns of the boss on these skills, the A2 and A3. We are not able to increase the cooldowns on passives, how I just said it before. The A1, of course, is still gonna go. But we do need that attack down. He hits pretty hard. Now, I could target the boss here as well. If I don't target the boss, how you guys can see, is a bit slower. And the main idea here is in the next way. We do want to kill this ad right here, where my mouse is, because if we kill him, it's decreasing the cooldowns of all the skills on all my team. So that kind of allows me to go in without having resistance, without having to protect from the boss's A2 right here, because this is the only way we can protect from it, by having resistance. But because we can kill this wave right here, this ad right here, and you see the ads are not tanky. It's pretty easy to take them down, honestly. It's not like we need insane amount of damage to take them down. He's gonna decrease the cooldown of every single skill we have on our champions. So that will make it much easier to fight the boss. But that being said, let's move over and target the boss, make this run a bit faster, because it is taking quite a bit of time to go on like this. It's a bit more risky like this because we're not killing the waves as well, the ads. At least if we're killing them, is much slower. The boss gets to deal a bit of more damage. You guys know the way it works with the passives he has. He has pretty crazy passives, honestly. Eternal Rage buff, that's a pretty strong buff as well. Like, check this out, ignoring defense. He's doing all this crazy stuff with this buff. And that's all to do with the minions, right? What other clean... Skytouch Shaman, she's not reliable enough to run here because of her own passive, screwing her over with decreased speed or fear. So I would not suggest you to run a Skytouch Shaman as a cleanser in here. You could run Siphi Duchesses if you have them, of course, but I don't feel like they would help you that much on here. Just a bit of damage reduction from a Duchess, I think, will be better overall than Siphi. Siphi, she will give you increased speed, which is the good part about that here. So the boss got the buff right here. Just check the damage he's gonna deal on us in a second. Look at that, insane damage. Luckily with the shield from Warlord, that helps to keep us a bit... Actually, it's not helping to keep us alive because the shield is getting ignored. I completely forgot that for a second there. I almost got baited by my own saying, you see. We do have the heal from Warlord. Shield is not as good when the boss has the buff. But now, when he doesn't have the buff, the shield is actually amazing because he only ignores shield when he has the buff, right? So where is that passive? Is it this one? No, it's this one right here. So when he has the Eternal Rage. If he doesn't have the Eternal Rage buff, like this one right here, he's not going to ignore shield. So that's going to be pretty handy for the rest of the skills when he uses them. I almost said a bad thing right there, guys. But it took longer because we haven't targeted the boss early enough. We got 6 minutes in. Warlord dealt almost no damage. Doom Priest 560k. Padma 1 million. Sile of the Drake 700k. Dragstar Bloodwind 6.5 million damage. And all that because of the HP burn, guys. So HP burn is actually the way to go on this boss. I feel like if you bring in nukers, single target nukers, enemy max HP, poisons, or all sorts of things like that, they're not gonna be as efficient as a HP burn. Definitely not as efficient. So let's have a quick look at the champions. So this is my Warlord. He's on a shield set. I haven't really changed much on it. I just upped a bit his resistance. I am running him on the Scarab King as well. So it's pretty much the same thing you've seen before. So total stats on him, 71k HP, 2.8k defense, 266 speed, no crit rate, crit damage, 379 resistance, 338 accuracy. So that's my Warlord. Masteries on him, defense and support 3. I didn't got War Master on him. That would have speed up a bit the whole situation. Probably by 20 seconds at least. Eagle Eye as tier 6 for more accuracy. Dragstar Bloodwind. 2 speed sets, 1 accuracy set. Perception. Total stats 40k HP, 4.2k defense, 232 speed, full crit rate, 253 crit damage, 197 resistance is not gonna help us at all, 330 accuracy, plus we are making use of his aura as well, but is plenty of accuracy already. Masteries, we have offense and support 3 all the way down to Giant Slayer. Very important to have Life Drinker as well to help him out a bit, but rather than that, Giant Slayer, because he has a multi-hit A1, 3 hits on there. Fully booked all the champions as well, if I haven't mentioned that. I do think I have Dragstar fully booked as well, I do. So 1, 2, then we have Sile of the Drakes. You've already seen it on a different video that we made. I haven't changed her yet, so she's pretty much the same. Regeneration and Immortal. She can be on Relentless as well, of course, if you like, but then she's not gonna work on the previous boss, on the Griffin one. So Masteries, there they are, tier 6 War Master. I'm kind of avoiding to have a lot of accuracy on her or anything that affects their meter because of the Griffin boss mainly. Total stats on her, she's not crazily fast. The boss, I think, is on 250 speed on the floor 120, so that's one thing you gotta keep in mind. Tyrant right here, we have him on a 1 accuracy set, 2 resistance sets. How I specified, I focus more resistance on him rather than accuracy because I knew I'm gonna use Dragstar's lead for accuracy. So I kind of combo them together. So total stats on him, we have 66k HP, 3.8k defense, 232 speed, 42 crit rate, 115 crit damage, 462 resistance, 286 accuracy. Now without an aura, this accuracy would not be enough to drop that HP burn. But because we're using the aura from Dragstar, that brings it up on the same level. Now, we got more HP than defense, even though his damage is based on defense, not HP. Just to rectify that in case if you got confused, he's a HP based champion, but damage based on defense. So I wanted to get more HP on him just because when he gets the ally protection on the rest of the team, he'll be getting a lot of damage. So I kind of try to balance a bit the stats, focusing more on HP than defense because the boss will ignore 50% of the defense. Masteries, I have offense and defense 3. And we went all the way down to War Master. Now, I actually haven't changed a thing on these Masteries. Are the same way I'm using him on Clan Boss, for example. So tier 6 War Master to deal a bit of extra damage in there. Then who else we used in here? So I showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, Doom Priest and Padma. Let's look over at Padma. So we have her on an accuracy set. we have her on a cruel set, and we have her on an immortal set. So this gear right here is pretty badass on her, I'm not gonna lie. Total stats, 37k HP, 2k attack, 3.9k defense, 221 speed, full crit rate, 238 crit damage, 328 accuracy. Now, in a way or another, it is pretty achievable for a lot of you guys to get similar stats. You could drop the crit damage gloves for defense gloves and lower the crit damage on her and try to keep the rest of the stats. Crit rate is very important on her because she needs crit rate to land that attack down. Her damage is based on defense and attack, right? So that's why I have a bit of attack on her as well. And not to say that I have pretty good cruel set that can go on her, right? So because of it, I gave her one of each here. Pretty good stats as well. So Masteries, offense and support tree. I got Master Hexer to increase the duration of attack down, and we went down on tier 6 War Master rather than Helm Smasher or a Flawless Execution. War Master will eventually give us more damage, especially on the boss. So these are the Masteries on Padma. Then we have Doom Priest. Now, the build I have on Doom Priest is a bit of an overkill, honestly, especially on resistance, because you don't really care that much of resistance on her. Once she takes her turn, it doesn't matter if she's going to use the A1 or A2. We don't really care about that A2 that much, right? Because it's just attack up, so it's not like it's going to be game-changing on the boss. So, total stats, we have 65k HP, 3.1k defense, 259 speed, 425 resistance. The rest, nothing really matters on her. And the resistance, again, it doesn't matter on this boss. So, forget about resistance. There's no need for you to go with that particular sort of build. Now, I don't have a resistance chest piece on her, for example, but we do have resistance banner. Masteries, we do have offense and support tree. Extra heal, a bit of extra speed in case if anybody dies here, and we went down to tier 6 War Master. So these are kind of the builds on my champions, guys, the things that I used. Of course, you can lower some of the stats on some of the champions. I kind of explained you the key on which you would want to have resistance, or if you don't want to have resistance, you can get the resistance. Make sure you kill the left minion, and like that, they're gonna decrease the cooldown of every single skill on all your champions. But that was it pretty much for this guide, for this video, guys. Appreciate you all guys watching. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe for more content, turn on notifications to see when we upload next, and I will see you all soon on a different video. Till then, peace out.